Hi guys, good evening. Hope all of you are doing good and staying safe in this lockdown. This is one of its kind situation which is never before experience. I don't know if it's a good experience, but somewhere we should always look at things positively. And one positive thing that happened today is that ICAI has come up with the confirmation regarding rescheduling of exams, and your May 20 attempt has been postponed, and now exams will start from 19th of June, which is a huge gap between the dates. If you see, it's almost like 50 odd days which you have gotten. And if I see from today onwards, if we count the number of days from tomorrow as well, we have a total of 83 days in hand. And trust me, 83 days is a good enough period for anyone to do well in these exams, the CA final. Now, few suggestions I want to give. Number one is, what should be the plan now? Plan is very simple. You're not going to do anything out of the box. You probably were already studying well during this period, keeping in mind that your exams are going to start from the first week of May. Probably you are already putting in 10-12 hours of study time. Most of you would have been completed with your syllabus also by now, and most of you are into your revision phase. So the suggestions are: number one, if you have filled in your forms only for one group, which means you are almost clear in your mind, there are no doubts, you know you have to write one group, and you're preparing for those 3 or 4 papers depending on if it's a first attempt or it's a second attempt. You are having an exemption in your last attempt. Keeping that in mind, most of you would be writing 4 papers, or maybe in some circumstances people are writing 3 papers. I'm first talking to those students who have filled in forms only for one group, whether it's group 1 or group 2. Because I have got extra time, should I refer some other books for more content? Answer is no, it's not required. Keep assuming that you would have already done comprehensive preparations, you have done exhaustive preparations, you have taken classes properly, you have covered everything that is there in the institute reference books. If that is the case, I would suggest that spend more time revising this stuff. And yes, if something extra you want to do, probably you can take up few mock papers for each of the subjects, and self evaluation is good enough. You do write the exams and you do self evaluations. No need for anybody to check your papers and all, it's not required. As far as referring some new books is concerned, don't do that. We don't want to do too much of variety, and we don't want to do repetitive studies. Whatever you have studied, assume it, assuming that you have done it properly as of now. You might start practicing a few more questions by writing them, like for FR and SFM in group 1, costing in group 2, maybe DT in group 2. You can write and practice few questions, which will give you that extra level of confidence. Number 2, for people who registered for both the groups, who wanted to write both the groups, but their preparations were not great, and they decided they will go for only one of the groups. A lot of people do that, right? And now, because you have got this extra time, are you planning to reconsider your decision, and you plan that maybe because this extension you have got, should you write both groups? Being on a conservative side, I would suggest don't do that, because if by March end you're still not mentally prepared for writing both groups, I would suggest that you still go with one group. Whichever group is your forte, whichever group is your strength, plan for that group itself. And not a great suggestion, but because it's an exceptional circumstances we are dealing with, I dare to give you this suggestion, that maybe if this thought is coming to your mind where you reconsider writing both groups, I would say a safer strategy would be to plan writing the group which you were always planning, and take up one paper from the second group. I mean, whichever is the remaining group. So like, suppose if you have registered for both the groups for May 20 attempt, but you finally decided you will only go with group 1, then I would suggest that you write group 1 exams properly, and in group 2 maybe you can target a paper like IDT. I feel that is one paper which I feel okay, giving you neutral suggestion, neutral preference from my end will be IDT, because IDT seems to be a little more scoring compared to the other three papers. But if you have your own strengths, maybe in costing you feel you can get an exemption, then better please go for costing. Don't take my advice in that case. I'm giving you a safe and a conservative option, that maybe you're planning well for group 1, and in group 2 you can target IDT for an exemption. If you are well prepared for group 2 and you are mentally prepared, you're going to write group 2 and you want to take up one paper from group 1, take it SFM. I feel SFM will be a great choice in that case, and you might try your luck with this paper and try to get an exemption. Obviously for that you need to prepare accordingly. But do we have enough time to do this strategy? Answer is yes, because you have got a lot of time in hand. But it's very important that you make use of this time prudently and you don't go into too much of relaxation mode. Yes, given the circumstances, we all are having we all are going through a little bit of a rough patch of life where we are mentally burdened with this lockdown kind of a scenario. But I would suggest that you look at the positive aspect of it. There is no disturbances for you. You're completely socially disconnected. Spend some quality time with your family. That's it, and rest of the time should be given for your studies. Apart from that, guys, whenever these postponement of CA final exams happen, like before this it happened when center elections were there, and I always say this, that it is more like a dual-edged sword, which comes with a lot of benefits and it also comes with a negative. The negative is that when your exams are getting postponed, then automatically your results will also be delayed. Listen carefully, guys. Your exams are getting postponed, your results will also be getting delayed, and as a result of that, the time period which you get for the next attempt is considerably less. So that we need to keep in mind, because if this attempt is getting postponed, assuming situation will be well in control by the time the next attempt comes, that is November 20 exams, we don't expect the exams to get postponed in that attempt. So the good side is that for this attempt you're getting a lot of time, and now it all depends on how well you can make this time count and convert this into a successful attempt for yourself. So with more revisions, with more practice of writing down the things and rehearsing your answers by writing them, revising multiple times, even the theory papers you need to revise multiple times, given that you have a lot of time. You need to ensure that whatever group you're taking, or if you're taking both groups, you need to ensure that you pass in this attempt itself. And we don't want to see a difficult situation where we have to rewrite exams with less amount of time in hand. Now, psychologically what happens is, once we write the exams, we don't want to start studying. We want to wait for the results, and only after that we start studying. Only handful number of students are there who are sincere enough, they're practical enough not to wait for results, and they start right away. In other cases, people generally have a laid back attitude. They want to wait for results and then start preparing, but that time span between your May 20 and November 20 attempt will be shrunk, and that is going to shrunk by a big margin. The 50 days time is going to cost you in your next attempt. So what in short I want to tell you is, you got a lot of time. You need to make sure that you make the best use of this time, and don't try to do anything out of the box. If you were planning to write one group, still go ahead with one group. Under extreme circumstances, you may take up one paper from the, say, alternative group. As per my recommendation, it has to be IDT for group 2 or SFM for group 1. But otherwise, reconsidering to write the entire group, that is, instead of writing 4 papers, if you plan to write 8 papers, I feel that will be a little bold decision. At the end of the day, it's a very subjective decision making. You should play the game by your strength and not by what I am telling you. I'm just sharing some general ideas with you. Take what applies to you and ignore what you feel is not directly applicable to you. I'm just talking about different permutations, combinations. Apart from that, don't try to over experiment. Like you have referred author A book, now suddenly you feel because there is more time I will refer author B book also. Please don't do that. It's not required. Okay, so this is the suggestion from my end. If you need me to help you with anything, you have my number. Please drop me a message. I am happy to help you at any point of time. Stay safe, guys. Take care of yourself, take care of your family members, stay in house, and use this time to increase the probability of your success in the upcoming exams. Extra time means extra preparations, extra time means extra efforts. It does not mean I will switch into rest mode and I will start again after a month or so. Please don't do that, guys. This time is very, very crucial for you. Make the most of it. Okay, and make your parents proud, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. God bless.